to open with a question. What is and we can type it in the chat or people in the call can answer. But what when you look at how like so I guess an artist like me for example like renders reflections and metal and stuff, what is like the main question that pops in your mind?
The reflection.
Reflections. Okay, we can go over reflections. I'm actually gonna type this. I'm gonna actually write it out. I'm gonna bring up the notepad. Okay. My notepad exploded. Okay, come back. Thank you.
That would be a good topic regardless of what the tutorial's about, because you always need a good light source.
Yes, light sources are incredibly important, especially for if you're doing like reflection and refraction shit. You need to understand where light sources are being placed in the environment and what in the environment is reflecting ambient and local light onto the object. I'm saying a lot of words and it's gonna make sense. I promise.
Someone who knows art stuff, it's okay, but someone who's new to others, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Let's see here. Eldritch says, at least you teach in an interesting way. And that keeps my attention. Every art class I took did not interest me at all unless it was ceramics. Okay, ceramics is kind of cool, and I never took ceramics, but I really wanted to. Oh, goodbye, Tin. I'll record this for you. It's all. I'll have the VOD up at the end, and I'll cut up a
Ceramics is so
highlight.
much fun. You have to take
Dude,
it.
you took ceramics, huh? Fuck. Anyway, let's see.
You were like supposed to get ceramic class.
I did take ceramics.
But pandemic hits.
The pandemic does hit, yeah. I'm actually going to go ahead. I see some questions in here.
That I made in ceramics was a Gucci coffin.
Gucci coffin! You fucking would make a Gucci coffin, Luke.
Gucci coffin, huh?
Eldrick says, I want to make more pots when my eczema got in the way. That's not how it is. Damn.
So was make a vase, make a teapot with a cup, and then make a box.
Peakification beam! So funny. Let's see. I see one from Peppermint. What specific metal I'm going for because it will have many colors.
I don't think I did the teapot because I didn't have enough time.
I didn't have enough time! That's fair.
Box, I made... oh, I remember now. So for my box, I made a stash box for one of my stoner friends.
That's kind of awesome. That's dope as fuck.
I put hers and her girlfriend's initials on it.
Aww.
And the handle for the lid, I molded it to look like a joint. That would lid.
You took ceramics class very seriously. I love that for you. Also, Magic Chemist says their professor in ceramics stole their 2 teapots. That's some bullshit. Teapots are hard. Unacceptable. That's some bullshit.
Those are fucking a pain in the ass to make, which is why I never made mine.
Oh, I feel it. But yeah, okay, so I see reflections, values, and hues for gold. I can definitely go over. There are, with gold and things like that, it is very easy to make gold accidentally look like brass unless it's intentional. And I'll go over that with some of my own gold pieces. Do we have any other questions in the chat before I kind of just go off about metal for an hour? Let's see. Functional ceramics. And I know that I had a question from Discord. I'm going to paste in my thing too. Oh, I left Discord on accident, son of a bitch. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. That was some garbage shit. I didn't mean to do that.
I was like, oh no, I was like, did I just like look out?
Alright, there we go. Tui cringe live on stream. They had the wheel things, they never got the hang of it. Oh man. Here, have some stars, everyone. Let's see. I'm gonna paste this one question and we'll get started. Because I love having a notepad. Okay. It helps keep my shit in line. Let's see. It's in tutorial. I wish I took ceramics though. I'm so jealous. Well, at least you make cool shit, Luke. Yeah, that's not fucking sad. Alright, and then here's an art question. Okay, this is a good general art question that I'll go over towards the
I
end.
think Dylan still has one of the vases I made for him, and I.
Aww, that's cute. Yes. Aww. Let's see. So we're gonna go over some of these questions that popped into people's minds when I mentioned like painting metal. Reflections is a really big one because especially for chrome, it is incredibly important to understand what is surrounding your subject in order to properly convey what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and get a gray canvas going. And values for gold and stuff, a lot of my work is highly referenced, at least for like color values and things like that. If I am having difficulty conveying a certain metal, I immediately am cartoon running over to Pinterest as quickly as possible because seeing how the object works in real life is key to selling these things when you're trying to represent them in the artistic format. There, art. Graphic design is our passion, and I'm out here gonna share you the good word, okay? So like in this piece, for example, I mean, he's sitting in a white void, right? But being able to simplify reflection to a point where this reads as metal without necessarily having to go like, fucking this level of detail is this, we want to bridge this gap. And I will show you how I do it. I'm gonna go ahead and put up a blank canvas and provide some examples. I had read a little bit of, I did a little bit of research before the stream, kind of just going over how some artists sort of describe how to simplify these sort of forms. I remember watching, I think I linked a couple in the tutorial channel as well, but a lot of it is just, you know, understanding how light and especially an image will distort onto an object that's like round or, you know, shaped a different way. Because a lot of these hyper realistic paintings, I was pasting a couple in the lounge, I think. Or in the lounge, and then just like absolutely screaming about this. I was screaming about this in the sort of like the beginning part of the stream too, because I was collecting these, and I'm like, Christ, how do you do that? Even this is outside of my wheelhouse. I saw some of these paintings in person when I went to the Museum of the Rockies a couple months ago, and I'm like, what do you mean this is not a photograph? They use oil, they use watercolor. This one, big watercolor vibes on this. I could tell by the way they got this gradient, like, oh god, why, how, excuse me, you took water, you took some medium, you stuck it on a page, and then you made a Cadillac? Why, that's some fake ass shit. I don't know how they did that. Even I'm still figuring it out. So that's why I like to do sometimes when I'm trying to challenge myself or you know, depict one of my characters, which, like I mentioned before, the one character who's put me through the reflection gauntlet was fucking Keller, because he's literally a liquid metal robot, and it's like, in order to convey liquid metal, I have to paint liquid metal, and that's a pain in the fucking ass. Here's this painting I found of the Terminator endoskeleton. It tells you, does it tell you what medium this is? Okay, well this was done for an actual like design class. Perspective and rendering systems, Tuesday to Thursday. Oh god. This is phenomenal work though. I think that from my judging of this is probably ink. This looks a lot like ink because you can approach doing reflections with just ink. Like all you need is to understand how the gradients fall and where highlights are hitting and which ones aren't. Let's see. Pepper says, I don't know if you've seen them, but those Forever Spin tops are really nice and simple references for different kinds of metals. Let me go ahead and Google that real quick. I've never seen that before. And maybe I'll take an image. I'll probably look at an image and be like, oh, okay, I know exactly what this is. I just never know the names of things. Oh, yes. Oh, these are cool. Actually, this is a great example. Let's see. So these are Forever Spin tops. Metal tops that I think Forever Spin, like the name suggests. And they come in different like lusters, I think. You can get them in whatever color. So this is a good example of like hues in metal and like differentiating gold from brass and brass from copper, silver from just like an average like maybe like it's a different kind of silver, sterling silver, fucking iron, whatever. I want the image. Stop taking me to the website. I don't want to buy one. Okay, here we go. Yeah, these are cool because these tops have a very simple shape. At the same time, though, it tells you, like, you can obviously see where light is and the reflection is being warped around the object. I'd actually love to, like, break down, and I want to draw one of these and break down kind of my thought process. Because I think, like, if I find a really good picture, let's do silver. Give me a sexy picture. Oh, yeah, this is a sexy picture. Now, let's use this. Learning how to draw, like, say, for example, because I like to think of things in levels. Now I want to do a middle study tonight when I get home. Yes, please do! All you need is a pencil, really. Like, if you've taken an Art 101 class, they make you, like, render a fucking sphere with a pencil. And while it's a pain in the ass, it does show you how to do, like, fundamental value work with just a pencil. They have a Mokugane titanium one. Ooh! Oh, that sounds fancy. Wow. Sexy. We're gonna draw this top. I'm gonna draw this top on stream. It's gonna be fun. And I'll show you, sort of like a real-time breakdown of, like, how I draw metal forms. Let's see if I can get my canvas going. Yeah, I actually managed to find, choose a canvas that was, like, the same color as the thing I'm gonna reference. Let's, I can't zoom into, there we go. That's, oh, I love this song. Okay. So, say I want to draw this top. I'm gonna copy that image. We're gonna stick it on my PureRef. I'll move this shit over here. Oh, that was loud. Oh, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Nice. This is a nice picture of this top. Let me tell you. Let's see. There we go. So I'm only going to use black and white. I'm not going to deal with color right now. Color is its own wheelhouse when it comes to metal. Let me tell you. So a lot of, I feel like in order to understand like the foundation of like how light works, it's a lot easier to work in grayscale. I remember talking about this a couple streams ago with a viewer. They might be here too, but I work in grayscale first because it forces my brain to only think in value as opposed to also getting confused. Yeah, say for example, I'm drawing a piece that has a lot of color in it. I get easily distracted when I draw. So, say I'm painting, and if I'm painting in color, it takes me a lot longer to reach the same sort of like art decisions that would have probably been expedited if I wasn't also working in color. Like if I only work in black and white, I'm only seeing value. That's the only thing I'm worrying about. If the values look good, then I move on to color, generally. And once you get comfortable with reading pictures and like understanding where values are being sort of drawn in real life and studying from photos and stuff like that, you can expedite it and go straight into color. And you know, if you have good like color, if you've studied color a lot and you can determine value despite a piece being in color, then you're kind of already ahead of the game, I think. And you could just go straight into painting. There are artists that can do that, and they're so powerful. There's some pieces that I've done that are like way too complicated, and I have to do it at grayscale first just to understand what the fuck is going on. And especially if you're working with pieces with more than one light source too. Like that shit gets so complicated so fast, you have no idea. Like I like to look at 80s movie posters and with the way they're designed. If you ever seen like Star Wars posters too, there's like 20 different fucking light sources and there's like multiple figures on the screen. I'm like, bro, that's too many subjects. That's a lot of subjects in one poster, man. Who sat here and painted that shit? That was before people took like photos of the actors and was like, fuck it, well, we just need a photo, you know.
Who wanted to make some mad money.
Yeah, someone wanted to make some mad money. Yeah, those paintings, I love painting. Just like the painting style of like movie posters back in the 80s and the 90s, because that shit, man, realism in general is something that is just like. My brain likes cartoons. I think I like shapes that are simple, but also applying like realistic lighting. Like that tends to be the art style that I tend to fall back on. And I'm gonna explain my sort of my thought process drawing this top here. The fastest way for me to start determining the values in a subject is actually using like a pen or a pencil, applying where the darkest points of the picture are first before I even start like worrying about, you know, adding local values on here or color or anything like that. What is the darkest point of a piece? Because if you've ever like seen deep fried like image memes before where they like make the contrast like 500 times. Oh my god, wait, hold up. Let me see if I can find some deep fried memes. Oh my fucking god. Okay, these fucking things. These are so cursed. Some of these are good though. Ooh, baby. Oh my god, this is a great example, but that's terrifying. Can I find an example that's not scary? I mean, I think these are scary on purpose, but... Mr. Lane! Deep fried! Ah! Oh my god. This is a great example, but I wish it wasn't fucking terrifying. So where the darkest points in this image are obviously where the mouth is, because there's no light hitting those corners of the mouth. God, the German one's so scary! Let me find... Oh god, if I ran an art class, I would immediately be fired. like a proper art class. It's like, what the fuck are you showing on the screen?
They are cursed images.
They're so fucking cursed! They got German, yeah! German deep fried meats are so fucking funny. Let me find a Duckett painting that I think explains the concept well. Okay, that's color. Okay, actually I can use this as an example. This is an old color study I did back in like 2019. I don't know where the values sit in this. I colored this. I painted this in color. It took so long, but it came out really hot and really sexy. But I'm gonna do a value check on this, and I recommend artists who deal with a lot of values, who deal with a lot of color, to do value checks on their pieces from time to time, because it'll show you where the lightest and darkest values are on your piece and how to like make it pop a little more. Because sometimes with art, it's really hard to like unless you're doing post-processing after the fact when the piece is already fucking done. You know, their values might be off and they're like, shit, I gotta repaint it and all that other garbage. But I'll show you how to do value checks really quickly so you don't have to like do that. So what I did here is I took like a black paint bucket fill and I put the layer on color, the layer blending on color, and it immediately makes it grayscale. If I did, there's another approach to this where you merge everything first. You go into tonal and then you just turn off the color by just lowering the saturation. There is some debate on which one is more accurate. Okay, I think this is probably more accurate than the other one. if I had to make an opinion. And this is where the art programs that you're using can make a difference in like how you approach painting or how you approach, you know, like setting in and rendering something. Because my rendering process has been streamlined through the years. I've gone through so many fucking iterations of it. I'm probably gonna mix the two here. So see how like this is really washed out and this is really dark. I want to meet them in the middle, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower the opacity of the layer on the top, and now we have a nice balanced, not color story, a value story, because this is all black and white. But yeah, I can still determine, oh, this corner of his jacket is the darkest point. Oh, the light neon sort of like lit up plant is where the brightest parts are. This vent where there's light pouring in, that's the brightest part. Having these, an understanding where, these landmarks are value-wise in your piece will help you a lot, I think. Because then, when you add color, let me add color. When you add color, it'll just be just a little bit stronger, So like this, I think I'm going to do like an overlay. Ooh. Yeah. So like color can always be added after the fact. This is just an overlay with a slight, like I just turned down the overlay, but a lot of artists to expedite their, and especially this applies to metal rendering as well. There are a couple tricks that I'm going to show on stream. One way is that people apply a gradient map. If you've seen these motherfuckers before, you know exactly what's up, okay? These take your black and white values and then apply colors based off of a gradient map. Say this is the darkest and this is the lightest. It's applying those colors throughout the piece for you, and it happens automatically. Like you don't have to sit around and like choose colors. You can just do this, and this applies best to things that are already grayscale, things like metal and stuff that require like a very strong like value structure first, and you just want to apply a little bit of color. Oh, that one's pretty. I really like that one actually. This one's nice. The values are kind of really dark in this. This is not the best painting, I won't lie. But it shows you an example of how these colors can be applied. And also, this is a little sneak peek. I have gradient maps for metal! If I am struggling so hard, I'm like, fuck it! I'm gonna use one of these bitches and use it as a reference. This is definitely more of a cheat sheet sort of situation. If you have a very quick, like you want to visualize it very quickly, I feel like this is very valuable. I've used this quite a bit, just to help me understand like how to make the gradients very interesting. So I'll show you how to use those and I'll link them. Don't get made of jail. Cheating is for winners. Cheating is for people who value their time. I value my time, so I want to I want to use as many of these tools in the most efficient way possible. That is my MO when I draw, at least, because I take on a lot of commissions, as people might notice, but I'm pretty confident in being able to like start and finish a piece because I understand my process well enough to be like, okay, well I know how long this will take, roughly. I take each piece of mine on like a project by project basis, just because I like challenging myself. But that's an aside. We're gonna keep working on this top. If anyone has questions based off of the amount of information I've dumped, the floor is yours. I'll be reading chat. I'll be quiet for a bit as I draw this top. Pixel says, here, cheat sheet gradient maps, that's a good idea. Great idea if you're only doing thumbnails for a piece and not a full piece, or if you're just trying to visualize an idea very quickly. A lot of these sort of concepts I'm throwing at you are concepts that a lot of concept and visual development artists use, because they work in environments where they need to be able to pump out ideas very quickly in case the art direction changes or a scene changes. They need to be able to visualize different kinds of things very quickly and with accuracy too. And that takes years of practice, and they have specific schools for it. They have specific classes. Some of the examples I showed on stream are from actual art classes, and it's like, well, that seems about right. But you can teach yourself this shit. I taught myself this stuff. A lot of these concepts, other than like the couple of art classes I took back in my community college, a lot of these concepts I already knew. I just didn't realize there was so much vocabulary behind it. I'm like, oh, that's what that's called. Okay. and understanding the terminology does help. It makes it easier to describe, I guess. But I remembered in art class them just throwing around words like contrapposto, and I'm like, what the fuck is contrapposto? What am I gonna use contrapposto for? Why is it in Italian? Why am I Italian all of a sudden? It's because a lot of the fundamentals come from the Renaissance, right? You know, fucking art and shit got really popular, so, you know, Italian and Dutch artists were teaching each other, like, techniques and skills and stuff like that. That's why those words are how they are. The Renaissance. I like pronouncing it that way. It makes it sound fancier. I don't know. And, you know, a lot of these concepts, too, I feel like because I work on a very simplified style, I don't actually do proper, you know, art studies very often because I'm a commission artist by trade. So I'm not really out here trying to do traditional art or like try to build up my, you know, my art brain. But I think it's a good idea. I think if I don't know, I like teaching, but I haven't figured out a teaching style that like I don't know can just is less rambly. I think people like this though. I remember someone mentioning that I'm interesting to listen to. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because, like, a lot of art is fun, and art is great, and I like sharing knowledge, so really, if me rambling about metal for 5 hours helps, while I actually draw the thing that I'm saying, I'm, you know, demonstrating. I think demonstrations are really important, too. Also, I'm gonna basically paint this top. I'm gonna show you how my painting process looks. I have been obsessed with gradients recently. I use the lasso tool a lot in Clip Studio to create shapes and then just fill them in with a gradient. I'm that fucking lazy at this point. And also because this is the fastest way to apply value, in my opinion. It's just to, you know, add a gradient. And it reads, you know. And let's see. Peppermint says, who would win in a fight, Tui or Michelangelo? The Italian dude, not the turtle. Can we throw Mikey in there anyway? Can we throw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mikey in the triple threat match? I'm imagining this like it's a fucking WWE Raw episode. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Off the top rope, Tui fucking breaks her back and dies. That's so funny, man. Yeah, I am a big advocate of finding tools that work for you. If you are a traditional artist that or did traditional art at some point and there's a medium that you're like, man, this felt so good to use, then I recommend doing it. Come here comes Killer with the steel chair. No, my God, that would be so funny. I'm not gonna lie, I was a big wrestling nerd back in the day. Let's see. Eldrick says, you honestly hold my attention better than someone like Proko because you're more casual compared to the professional style of teaching. I hate the professional style of teaching. It's so fucking boring! Look, all kudos to people like Proko and stuff who do release really good educational art content. It's fucking boring. Unless I'm using it as a supplement for an actual class that I paid money for, I'm not gonna watch it. I appreciate the information being there, but the way it's delivered, it doesn't hold my attention either. So I totally understand. Like, it's hard to watch if it's professional. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of production behind it, and it just feels very impersonal to me when they're delivering the information. Because, like, when I do art, I do it because I love it. I do it because it makes me happy. And, you know, I present it in a way that's fun to me, and if it's fun for you to learn, then I'm doing my job. That's my opinion. Let's see. So Eldritch says it's hard to watch if it's unprofessional. If it's professional, because it's like so monotone. It's got words I don't understand, and then you don't explain it in the way that sticks. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I'll watch like a 20-minute art video and get like maybe like I'll get like maybe a minute worth of actual like, oh, this is the thing I needed content. Like a lot of it is lecture from what I understand, and there was examples and stuff, but I feel like I'm in art class, and if you've been in an art class, you know exactly what it's like. Okay. Peppermint says, I can't ask Proko if they could take an Italian Renaissance artist and a TMT in the ring! No, exactly! This is why I love Twitch. I can make shitty fucking memes and then teach you some interesting stuff at the same time. Eldrick says, I watched someone paint and all I got from it is how to throw blobs everywhere to make a vague shape. I mean, yeah, if it's being presented so objectively that it does come across that way, I feel like they're just not a good teacher. Personally, like all of the teachers that I really appreciated when I was growing up used a lot of personal anecdotes, whatever word, and they would apply scenarios to the things that they're teaching. It's not just like, oh, just do this and you get this. It's like, do this because when I was doing it, it fucking sucked doing it the other way, so now I do it this way. That's literally how I learned and how I teach now. Is I've made so many mistakes before, but this is the one way that made sense for me, and if it makes sense for you too, good. If not, we will find a way, you know? Like, I a lot of this is, like, just me throwing a lot of my personal experiences out and seeing what applies and what doesn't to you. And I try to make it entertaining, too, because, like, our art class is so fucking boring! I don't know. I have been in art history class, and that's fucking boring, let me tell you. Holy shit. Fuck that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep painting this top now. That was my rant about art education. But, Eldrick says, try learning art history and ceramics. Fucked, bro.
Why they teach the course in art history? I can understand like the first year, I got you there. But why are you showing again in the third or second year? I'm just
Yeah.
tired of it.
I know. It's like, bro, I'm out here trying to just draw this one specific thing. I come from an era of a lot of YouTube tutorials, so I totally get it. It's just like, oh man.
I watch others like artists how they drew. It's just like more like I became like a mimic.
Oh yeah. I feel that. I totally feel that. Yeah.
And I used to. I think I am now. Drawing Sonic characters all the time because the big thing that started me to draw it was like YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Extra.
Same here. Yeah.
It made me start that section.
Mm.
Because damn, I was like amazed, like how they can draw on the computer like that. Whoa.
Oh yeah, no, I was so fascinated by that shit. Let's see. Pixel Flare says, my art history teacher was actually so cool. For a final, we decorated sugar cookies like something we learned in that class that year. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love food. So that would have been a great ending to the class for me. I love a cookie. I'm easy.
Maybe when I become a teacher, I should make a cookies for my students.
That would be really cool. I mean, you will be remembered as a teacher who gave you cookies. Like, think about it. The fact that you remember the class and remember the cookies, it's just good. It's good teaching. Because you want to impart with your students information, but how they receive that information is out of your control. Just, if they took something out of it, then I would be grateful for just that, you know?
Shouldn't be like, this teacher gave us free cookies. Oh my god.
I know, right? All schools need more cooking classes. 100%. Dude.
I never had a cooking class, even the high school. I don't know why. It's just like when I watch like animes or like animation or something like that, there's always like a cooking.
There's always a cooking class, yeah. It's like, bro, where the fuck is this cooking class and where can I sign up? I didn't have one. Yeah.
Those kind of schools. I
Jeez.
really want to know how to cook things, but then I think it's expensive.
Oh god. Yeah, if anyone's observing the progression of this top so far, so I'm basically just tossing gradients at this and trying to match the light to dark transitions on like the edges of the top here. I'm actually gonna do this part too, and then I'm gonna sort of break down what I did. And provide some examples because I studied a lot of comic book art to kind of achieve this ink look. Comic book art and comic book inks especially are so fucking fun to look at. They're so good. I'm like, what the fuck? You did this with an ink pen, demon? Some demon shit. I know, right? Like, I want to be able to learn how to do that. That would be fucking awesome, but, you know. I love the efficiency of a digital medium, okay? Like, that's just, I'm attached to my tablet, and I'll never let it go, but I have worked in ink before, and it is pretty satisfying to, like, ink with, like, liquid. It's pretty neat. Just watching the paper, like, you know, absorb it, and, like, you can push it around and stuff, yeah. It's like, super entertaining. I'm like, haha, this is neat.
But need have confidence over like the stroke because like you don't have a control Z.
I know! You need to have a lot of line confidence, absolutely. I'm not at that point yet, but... I love my Control Z. I'm attached.
When I try to draw on a paper, it's just like accidentally like move my I'm trying to control Z and reach it out. I'm just like, wait, I'm trying.
Oh, that's funny. Well, my favorite kind of sketchbooks are the tone sketchbooks that are like an off-white or an off, like, beige or an off-gray. Because, I'll show you what I like to do. I basically do a version of that when I paint digitally. Is I'll draw on a neutral tone background, and then if I want to add highlights, I can just use white. Because traditionally the same kind of process goes into when you're drawing on toned paper. You can use a pencil, you can use ink, and then you can use white ink or white charcoal or white colored pencil to apply highlights. And it is so simple, so fucking simple, but it's such a strong way to show where the highlights are, because you know what's gray, you know what's darker than gray, and then you're applying the light after the fact, right? So you're able to control just how much highlight you're adding. So I'm about to tackle this highlight right here. My top's looking a little thick, but I'm not necessarily worried about the shape of the top. I'm worried about the highlights on the top. Let's see. Alright, let's go ahead and add this highlight on here. And I'm obsessed with layers for the fact of I can apply my values all in one layer and add highlights in another, and if I want to see it without highlights, I can just turn it off. It's only on one layer. I get out of control of my layers too, but it really is a case of, like, what's helped me is to try to be, I don't know, resourceful with the layers I have on the canvas. Like, if this is a highlight, this should go where the layer with the highlights are. Generally. That's Discord sound. Powerful Discord sounds. And I haven't added any of the background tones yet because I'm not really worried about the background. I will give it a floor though because I think that might help. This is why all of my pieces have a rim light, because it's so easy to determine form with just a white line as opposed to filling in gray value. Like, it's not interesting. I want it to be crunchy, right? Let's see. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add the reflective little, because this is actually an example of a reflection too, and the material isn't even metal. What the fuck is up with that? All materials, no matter whether they're metal or they're plastic or they're flesh or they're a fabric, will always, because light has to hit it in order for it to register as a color or as an object. That light will reflect back onto whatever surface is around it. Same goes for surfaces too. So this table, has light. So I'm actually gonna draw on this to show you. I'm gonna go ahead, because this is actually really, really useful to visualize light sources, especially when you're thinking of things in like a 3D space. Your light source is not only hitting the top, so say the light source I think is like above. The light source is not only hitting the top, but it's hitting the table too. So the table acts as a surface, you know, that also has its own colors and values. It has its own luster. And then the little reflection of the top down here is light not hitting that part of the table. Therefore, you know, then it's not going to be as light as the rest of it. You know what I mean? A lot of metal rendering also just comes from understanding of rendering in general. Like if you shade often in your pieces, you know, I render. I'm known for my rendering, so all I do is render. But when you start breaking objects down into these sort of the idea of like, oh, my light source, you know, things, the objects and how they interact with each other in space, then light becomes a breeze. But I think I was able to parse a lot of this because I come from a 3D background too. I used to fuck around in Blender. I've taken classes in 3D Studio Paint or like 3D Studio Max and Maya and stuff like that. So the way that computers read and understand light is all math based. You place objects within a 3D space on the grid and you render it, and suddenly, you know, the object's being lit from the left or the right, or wherever you place that light. And it's the same thing when you're drawing it. You know, you still have to, it's harder because one, I have to draw the object. Two, I have to visualize the object in 3D space in my brain. Excuse me, it's some bullshit, but you gotta do it. It makes rendering a lot easier. So thinking in my brain, I'm like, okay, light source is, you know, round. It's above. And I say why, for example, I really wanna convey this table. Well, I'm gonna go another layer. I'm gonna fucking get the floor already. And we're going to add a value that, you know, kind of matches this. So a lot of this, the things that I'm demonstrating right now is just observational drawing, you know, studying from a photo. Literally, that's all it is. That's how I broke down my process from just studying other things that may be not related to the thing I want to apply it to later, like color. But, you know, it helps. It really helps to understand the rules before breaking them. You know, I feel like that gets thrown around a lot, but it definitely applies to things like this. Because if you don't understand the rules of engagement of how light bounces around 3D space, then it's going to be hard to sort of visualize where light is hitting what, how light is interacting, how those reflections are interacting with that light. Then it gets way too complicated, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? So breaking it down into its most basic fundamental pieces has helped me in understanding, oh, this is how I make shiny things without color. How do I make shiny things with color? And that's when, you know, a lot of the more specific questions around, like, what program am I using? You know, what colors is this piece gonna have? How much color is it gonna have? All the arty questions that artists go through every time they need to draw something. Truly, it's a pain, but good art comes out of it, so I think it's worth it. Okay, my fan's fucking around. I'm gonna go ahead and render this floor. And I think this is pretty much done. Like, I need to add that main highlight down there. Yeah, I'm gonna add that main highlight, and then we should be good. Yeah, I really like this picture of the top because it really does. It's a phenomenal picture. One, because, you know, it's got so much like value differentiation in it. But two, it's a really nice photo. It's just a well taken photo. Good for them. If you want to ever like do like a value study or like a just a general photo study to understand a certain part of it, I recommend finding high fidelity pictures. If you are referencing off a picture that's like fucking, you know, 50 by 50 pixels, it's going to be very, very hard to find those great, like the value differentiation that I'm talking about, because it's just not a high quality picture. But when you're referencing high quality references, and that's when the art starts happening. Oh, I love this example right here. Oh, this is an example of the floor shit I was talking about. So these are reflective sort of spheres sitting on an object that is tan. So this, I would imagine, like, the surface is actually tan. So some of the surface, see how light bounces around and stuff. The objects that are being rendered are similar to mirrors in the fact that it's going to mirror what's below it, despite light not hitting it, because light is going to reflect back on it. So the bottom of the sphere is lighter than the rest of it because it's reflecting the floor. That shit that goes into reflection. Now, I'm gonna actually do an example of a reflection pretty soon here. If anyone has questions, please don't be shy. I got you. I really like this top too because it's like shiny enough so that I can do like a silly little maneuver like this, or I can just select it, and I'll actually show you guys. I'm gonna switch my screen over to the screen that's like the screen I'm using, so I can kind of show you how I'm painting this. I'll render it a little further and then I'll move on. Let's see, where's my main screen? And then we're gonna do display 2, display 1. Nope, display 3. There we go. Done. Alright, this is what I see in TUI World. I'm in TUI World. Also, my tablet isn't on Cameo, and I'm drawing, so let me fix that real quick. You might see some things. My hand. This is the program I use to Cameo her little tablet. Let me see if I can get it on here real quick. This screen is green. It's okay. Okay, there we go. Get her tablet going. Because she has a little tablet and I love it. Ugh. Where's Spud? Okay, Spud disappeared. I'm gonna do that one. This Spud tablet. There we go. Here's her tablet! Oh my god. There she is. Now she can draw! Haha! Woo! Okay, it's great. I'm now done being entertained by that. I'll show you guys just how I select and rendered this top. Use the lasso tool, like I said, and a lot of these like little gradients I just added, like example here. So I selected that shape. Oh, get the fuck out of here! I selected the shape first, and then went to my gradient tool. Foreground to transparent is what I use to get that nice. So you're applying one color and it doesn't create like a full like gradient with like white towards whatever color. So it's just the one color I'm using. And then, you know, I undo if it's a little too harsh. And then on top of that too, say I made this way too dark. If I wanted to just on the spot make it lighter, I can go into my airbrush, make it an eraser, and then just make it lighter if I wanted to. Say if I really wanted that to be harsh and I wanted to go in manually, I could. You know, giving myself enough options but doing them very quickly. I'm obsessed with that. So a lot of my process is going to be like, if you watch me render this, it's in real time. It's like what's going on, what are you selecting, what's happening. But once you sort of like play around with your tools and get to a level of comfort where you can do shit like this, then it's going to be really rewarding, I think. So that's what I mean by using a medium you really like, because you're going to go through a lot of growing pains learning certain techniques, and at least should be in a medium that you at least are willing to struggle through. And I've been using digital art for a very long time, so this is the medium I struggle through every day. Yeah, I'm glad that people have been able to, you know, pull some stuff out of the stream so far and are enjoying the format. I like this format too. I think I definitely want to do more of these streams. I'd have to figure out what subject matter, but you know, it's a worthwhile endeavor. I think Twitch is a cool platform for teaching. It has a lot of potential, but you know, Twitch deciding to pay me less is not cool. Not a fan of that. But I won't complain too much, you know. I get to I'm doing this full time, basically, so here we are. There we go. Here, can we make it sparkle? Yay, it's a sparkly top. So, a lot of these, little sparkles and stuff is just my style showing through, but this is sort of the finished product here. We can compare the two now. I maybe spent like a good 45 minutes on this, an hour. I should time these. If you want to get better quicker, you want to get better quickly? Time the shit. Only spend a certain amount of time per practice thing, or else you're just going to be working on the one fucking thing for like 3 hours. And it's like, wait a minute, I needed to draw 12 of these? Ah! So, I love timed stuff. It's especially good if you want to learn how to draw poses quickly. Ooh, I have a lot of resources for that, but that's not the kind of stream this is. This is a rendering stream. So, I am going to, paste this into the chat. I'm also going to put this on Twitter too, because I'm like, hey guys, I'm still streaming! Ah! And always be plugging. There we go. But yeah, I would say that's a pretty decent top. Thank you, Peppermint, for mentioning this. This cool shape, because I definitely, this was a challenge for me too. The top, like, dimensions of the top aren't perfect, but that we're not looking for that. We're looking for how accurate are the how accurate is the light being hit. And I say with this, I did an okay job. This is like an 80% if I had to summarize it into a number. But this isn't art class. I'm not summarizing art into shit, okay? This looks good enough for me. And I feel like, okay, I'm gonna throw some shade at the art industry, the art teaching industry, because I'm tired of it. But I hate it. The fact that, we're applying grading systems to things like art. It's very difficult to. I always, wonder how my art teachers are able to sit there and make a rubric, because it's like, for me, this is good enough. I feel like a lot of art is just judging whether or not it was depicted and reads well. Art, by its very definition, is subjective, like Peppermint said in the chat. How can you sit there and give it an A, give this one an A and that one a C? Huh? A lot of art rubrics that I've read always, determine it based off of, understanding of the subject and stuff like that. But personally, I do the reverse end. If any of what I'm teaching you on stream helps you at all, I did my job, right? And my job for me is to package all this information in an interesting way that makes it easier to understand the concepts. Because, oh my god, I'm tired of art classes going through 12 different art subjects and not maybe fleshing out one of them and then being like, oh, good luck with the rest of the concepts. It's like, the fuck? You're the teacher. The fuck are you doing? Write an essay. No! I don't want to write an essay. Welcome, Hayes. We are out here. I am in the throes of my metal rendering stream. So I'm actually gonna paste a image of it in the tutorial stream. Let's see. I'm also gonna have to drink some water because I'm like, oh god, I sure do talk a lot. That's how I lost my voice the first week I was streaming, because I just talked so much and my voice is just not attuned to it at all. Hello, welcome. I am doing the art streaming and we're having a good time so far. I think we've gone through a lot of fun subjects already, and we're kind of only just started. Really. So I'm gonna do stream ping. I'm gonna do art helping. And what I like about streaming too is that all of this shit gets recorded anyway. It's going straight into a VOD, and I can just cut it up and put it on YouTube later. So, I don't mind streaming because all of this is the information I want to save for later anyway. So we'll do help. There we go. There's my top, everybody. Judge my top. Judge it freely. It's not a bad top. I'm gonna go make a Twitter post. I hope that this value study has helped in terms of, how my brain parses through things like value and stuff like that. I'm going to now apply it to an actual piece that I want to make, and onto something that we can all appreciate and stare at. We are done with the boring part of the stream where I had to draw a top, and now I get to draw a hot robot. So, I'm gonna make a tweet real quick, and it'll be robot time. I would love to like host events later down the line if artists would be interested, and if we set up times well of just like an art study call or an art study like stream, and we just sit down and I put something on the screen and we draw for an hour, and I'm like, okay, guys, stop drawing. Let's look at your thoughts. I feel like that would be really cool, and we could all just discuss our thought processes. My favorite part about art class was sharing the art. Okay. I like it. I like hearing artists and like how they kind of like figured out this sort of art problem in their head and created this wonderful piece of work that we all get to share together. Because as a collective, we can all be like, oh, that's an interesting approach they took, and I'm gonna take some notes. A lot of how I learned art is listening to other artists talk about their art. That's me though. If it's different for other people, I'd love to know. I'm gonna go ahead and make a tweet or post.
Maybe on the weekend, like erase, maybe like
On the weekends?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
To study.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna bug my mods later and be like, hey, I think like a weekend like study group would be cool. Like I feel like that would be really fun. Let's look at your tops. Shows an OC who's a top. Very good, Magic Chemist. Very on brand for the stream. Ward Warlock says, I have a friend who would watch these model sketching live streams and draw along with him. Oh my god, I would do that shit all the time with YouTube videos that like the artist would be talking and they'd be drawing. It's like it's great content for an artist who's also looking to get some art done while also taking in some art content via like podcast or like listening to a video. I think that's super useful.